just answer the question.
Okay, we're going live, Nadav. Thank you.
For once I had it on mute. Okay, there you go.
Right, folks, welcome to another live stream at Mala Mala. For those of you that were with us on Facebook this morning, you would have seen a number of wild dogs, which you can see center of screen. They are quite camouflaged. Every now and then one just moves. But they were hunting this morning. They managed to catch a duiker as well as a scrub hare. They've been lying here all day, and we've decided to follow up on them this afternoon and bring you this feed live. So welcome to Mala Mala Game Reserve. Today we have Yaku with us over there.
Good afternoon.
And then we have Mike Kirkman handling all the comments.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
And then myself, Gareth. Right, I'll be trying to hold the camera steady. There you go.
It's quite a lag.
Okay. So folks, you can currently see two dogs that are in frame here. There is a third that we cannot see lying about 6 or 7 meters to their north. And then there are a number of dogs behind us. Someone asking, are we looking for the dogs? We have found the dogs. You can see her canine quite clearly there. It's one of the defining features of this pack. This is the alpha female center of frame.
And Lawrence Jr., if I remember correctly, you're in the Kruger National Park opposite us at Chikwani, so welcome back. And also, thank you for subscribing to our Mala Mala channel.
So folks, it's quite a warm day here. There's a little bit of cloud cover. You can see it's not too sunny right now, but it is quite warm. I'd say it's in the late 20s Celsius. And you see the alpha female's just lifted her head there. She looks quite gnarly with that canine showing. There she goes. She's actually pregnant. You can see how distended her belly is.
Alright, and welcome back everyone. Sorry, our feed dropped out for a second there. So welcome back to Haley Loves Wildlife, JS, Friday, Pam Hudson,
Jazzy Taz, welcome back.
Dylan Morgan, I'm sure I've seen before. Rasha is watching me, that's comforting. So JS, that one with the canine sticking out, she is, we believe, the alpha female, well, not we believe, we're confident is the alpha female of the pack. It's hard to see from here, but her belly is quite distended because she is pregnant. With these dogs, it's only the alpha male and female that breed. All the rest support them. Hey, Brad W. And a hello from Brockpun. And welcome back to Starlings from Oklahoma. Tilt the camera a little bit. And then, sorry, thank you to whoever mentioned about the chat, Angelo. So we'll try to just bear that in mind. We can't quite see it on our screen that we're filming on here, but we will be aware of where those chats are. And thank you so much, JS. And welcome to Marcos from Brazil, and Giraffe Girl, welcome back. And a hello MK from Bradley Toment of Safari Architects.
So MK is Mike Kirkman, who's busy reading the comments. If you were wondering, there's one dog that's up there. I'm just going to point over to that side. They have been doing this from time to time, just getting up, moving over, lying down again.
Yeah, sorry, there's a question a while back from Brian about seeing the pack on Juma. So this, well, not just them, and thank you so much, Pam. Sorry, folks, I just lost my train of thought completely there. This pack does get seen on Juma, but they get seen throughout the Sabi Sands. Well, not just them, but all the dogs are very mobile animals, so they have huge ranges. This Investec pack, when they were studying them, I believe it was 900 square kilometers was the size of the range that they were using. But yeah, sorry, just to go back a bit, thank you so much to Pam Hudson. And then just a question on the video quality. So folks, if you could just bear in mind, we're filming on a cell phone and transmitting it to you live from Mala Mala Game Reserve near the Kruger National Park, or next to the Kruger National Park.
Brendan Cole, welcome.
And Umaira Mayet, I'm hoping that got it right. Oh, sorry, my name is Hamza.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry, I should learn to read the question.
Yeah.
How's it, Brendan Cole? Just a question on how long she's been pregnant for. That's actually I'm not entirely sure. My guess is she's maybe could possibly be 2 months pregnant. So normally they give birth around late May, June. It's hard to say. Well, I don't recall seeing this pack mating. But yeah, she's got a very fat belly, so she's almost it's certainly getting closer to due than further. Welcome back, Miss Anamandris. And then thank you so much to Music Man. And then a hello from Tanzania. So what are those animals? So these are animals that go under a number of different names. We often call them wild dogs. Another name is a painted wolf, which is a really pretty name for them, or a Cape hunting dog is sort of the more preferred term. But yeah, we normally, if we're just chatting about them, refer to them as wild dogs. So they definitely are not wild canines or wild pet dogs, feral dogs.
few people commenting on the poor quality. Just again, we are filming off of a cell phone. We weren't fortunate enough to go and buy gear before lockdown, so we're just making do with what we have, and it's getting us by for now, so just bear with us. There's a giraffe in the background there.
Thank you so much to Terry Golson. And then God Vegeta. So that what happens if the wild dogs one pack meets another? So normally the bigger pack obviously just wins, and the smaller pack will run away. Sadly, they will kill one another. I have seen it myself once. It was a pretty brutal sighting. It wasn't something that I expected them to do. So the dogs are incredibly social, loving animals. They're quite happy-go-lucky animals, if you will. Personality-wise, they don't come across as vicious killers at all. But yeah, when they did kill the member of another pack, it was incredibly brutal to watch. It's always sad with the predators when they kill one another, but with the dogs it just seemed so out of character. But yeah, they do kill one another sometimes, but normally the packs steer clear from one another if they can. And today, if the schools are only opening in July, I hope that you are definitely studying hard in between, as well as anyone else that's busy homeschooling at the moment. Glad you're enjoying our channel, but don't forget to hit the books as well. So just a question on what time it is here now. It's just after 4 o'clock. And then the question from Dylan Morgan, how far are we from the runway? So where we saw that big pack the other day, the pack of 17 in a straight line, is maybe just more than 2 kilometers, perhaps 3 at the outside, I suppose, depending which end of the runway you're measuring. But yeah, not particularly far away, but we haven't seen that big pack for a while. And then just a note from Junk, they lack the killing techniques like the big cat. So that is true. The cats tend to strangle their prey and throttle it. So that animal, it's a relatively bloodless death depending on what's being killed. If it's certainly killed by lions or cheetah, the lions do sometimes just rip things apart. But with the dogs, they disembowel their prey like hyenas do. So it is a lot more gory, a lot bloodier, but it is also quicker. So I'm pretty sure that dying is not pleasant however it happens, but it's almost like you have the option slow strangulation or quick disembowelment. I'm sure the results are the same.
Just Pat Schaefer there saying thanks for the time and the effort you're putting in to bring this to you in Durbanville. You're welcome, Pat. It's our pleasure. Robin Sewell.
Oh, welcome, Robin. I would play the guess where you are or where we are game, but you have the inside track there. So we'll see if any of the other rangers can figure this one out. It's a real puzzle. And then Real Truth just saying there are more carnivores than herbivores. So that's unfortunately not that accurate. We just show the carnivores more frequently than we do the other animals. On average, it takes about 150 prey animals to support one predator, as a sort of a ballpark figure. Obviously, it depends on the species. But yeah, there's certainly a lot more prey than predators here.
Bruce Missing chiming in here. Large herd of impala, white cloth open area. So Bruce is the head ranger here, and he's driving around doing head ranger work, and he's just alerting us to the fact that there are impalas in the area. White cloth open area is not far from here, but yeah, it would still take them getting there to notice those impalas. Right now it doesn't look like they're going anywhere.
And another big thank you to Pam Hudson. Question on how fast they ran. So their top speed, I was once following them in the Land Rover, who has a notoriously unreliable speedometer, but it said it was 60 kilometers an hour. And that was on a relatively straight road, and they still were pulling away from me. They were busy hunting a bushbuck at the time. But that's as fast as I've seen them go. And then No Town Solace, thank you so much for that. Just a question on when will the rhinos get their turn. So if we had rhinos here, we certainly wouldn't be putting them on TV. Unfortunately, there is still some rhino poaching happening, or a lot of it, so we don't feature them at all, or no one does for that matter.
And Loris just helping us out there, saying we're near the Kruger Park. We are sandwiched between the Kruger National Park and the Sabi Sands, right next door to where Lawrence is currently.
And thank you so much, John Locke. Giraffe Girl, welcome back. So a question from her, did they catch anything earlier today? I'll let Gareth get that question, because I'm quite jealous of him.
So Giraffe Girl, we were following them hunting this morning. We streamed it live on Latest Sightings Facebook channel. We watched them run in on numerous impalas they missed. Then we caught up with them just after they had caught a scrub hare. And interestingly, they all gave the bulk of the food to the pregnant alpha female, which Pieter van Wyk pointed out. And then later on, they came into this very dense area where we are now, and a hyena helped us regain visual of the pack. We followed the hyena in. It had obviously heard this pack of wild dogs make a kill. And by the time we got here, they were finishing off at Daiko. We're not sure if the hyena got the majority of the carcass, but they've been here ever since.
All right, and thank you to Holy Cow. It's a great pleasure doing the work that we do. And Elder Moser 21, we are definitely live. It's not a video replay. Gareth put 3 fingers in front of the thing for Elder Monzo 21. Actually do a 2 and then a 1. There you go, Elder Monzo, it's definitely live. And yeah, sorry, so just a question on where we are. So we're on Mala Mala Game Reserve. We're more or less on the center and the western or left-hand side if you're looking at a map of Mala Mala, and we're sort of north of Skukuza, the capital, if you will, of the Kruger National Park, and the airstrip or airport of that. We're the 20 kilometers, or from there 20 kilometers north.
And I see Nadav is chiming in again as always. Nadav, thanks for your help. And as always, joining these chats and helping us out. So we appreciate it this side.
And well done to Elder Monza. And Giraffe Girl, where on earth are you that it's 3 a.m. in the morning? It's terrible. On the bite force of wild dogs closer to lion or hyena, I'd have to go with with lion. Hyenas have a tremendously powerful bite force. I don't even know what the bite force of the dogs are, but it's probably nowhere near what a hyena can generate.
So Craig Lever, welcome. Looks like you've been going to the gym. Teji Singh from Singapore, welcome. Nice to have people from all over the globe. Just a curiosity, this morning we had a lot of children online. Are there any children watching today?
So JS, if you're looking at the Sand River before it goes into the Kruger National Park, the length where it runs north-south for about 20 kilometers, that is Mala Mala. Everything more or less either bank, but the bulk of our property is on the eastern side, so between the Sand River and the Kruger National Park. And Brook, Stevenage, how big is the pack? I think there were 8 here this morning. We know this pack is the Investec breakaway pack. One of the alpha female, if she lifts her head, you can see her one fang or one canine very clearly, so it's easy to recognize her. And Nadav was indeed asleep this morning, but it's a lot easier to do it in the evenings. Oh, and a good morning from Alaska, my ultimate bucket list place to go, Clayton.
Welcome to Eve McCaffrey from the UK.
John Locke heard a story of a hyena biting through a cast iron pot. I've actually heard quite a few stories along those lines. I don't know about a cast iron pot, but I'm pretty sure any other pot they could tangle with. If you say cast iron as in a poiky pot.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before.
Well, there you go. So Gareth has seen it with his own eyes.
Yeah. So Brooke Stevenage, yes, I'm a child. Welcome, Brooke.
Oh, me too, Brooke.
And Lawrence Jr., I'm also 13.
And Kushagra, if I pronounce that right, I'm glad you could enjoy these. An 8th grader from India is Asmi. A bad smell from someone whose name I couldn't even pronounce if I tried.
Let's try, Mike.
Go ahead.
No, I think you should try. Let's see, where is it?
I'm gonna drop that to Yaku.
Yeah,
a bad
Yaku's...
smell. Who says what's that name? So apologies, we definitely can't read what I'm going to assume is Chinese or Japanese, but yes, they do have a pretty bad smell. Not a bad smell, I want to say a distinctive smell. Often if we're driving along looking for these dogs, we can smell where they did cross the road. But yeah, it is something you don't forget in a hurry. Friday, I knew you were in school, I just didn't know how old you were. But yeah, you definitely have a few more years in school ahead of you. Enjoy them. DJ Vibes from Brooklyn, also enjoying the wild dogs. They are a treat. Oh, and a good day from Australia.
You can tell us whether that accent was correct or not.
What are you talking about? South African accents sound like Australians, everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
Jay said alpha female's canine can be seen from the moon. It is very prominent when she sits up. She's a saber-toothed wild dog, this one. JS asking, wild dogs known to scavenge. So I've actually read in quite a few books that they do not scavenge, and it was something that I'd accepted as gospel. And then I've actually found them scavenging twice now. Once I watched him chase a leopard off her kill, and that she had just killed an impala, so it was a fairly fresh kill. And then another time a large animal had died, and the wild dogs were feeding on that too. So yes, they will scavenge, but I presume only for fresher meals. How big do male dogs get? So interestingly, the dogs here probably average around 30 kilograms. In East Africa, they're a bit lighter, maybe 20 to 25. In Southern Africa, the animals tend to get bigger. For those of you that want to be scientific, as a general guideline, the further away an animal is from the equator, the bigger it gets. Something known as Bergman's rule, if I remember correctly. Which is why some of the animals in the Arctic and so on, they've got those huge grizzlies, where further south you get smaller bears. In Africa as well, the lions get bigger the further away from the equator you are. How big is the litter, John Locke? So I think the record, if I remember right, was 22 dogs, or 22 pups, but that was born in Pretoria Zoo. But yeah, I've seen quite big packs of, or litters of puppies, I want to say perhaps 15 or so here. And then we had one pack that actually had 2 different litters, but the alpha female raised both. So some of the litters of pups can be quite big, but unfortunately not all of those litters will survive. Weather Moon asking, are wild dogs the same family as dhole in India? So they are. They're both canines, obviously, but that's the dhole. I may be wrong. I used to actually look after a whole pack of them, and those are canines, true canines, where these are like Cohen. So it's an older family, or the oldest family of canines, where the Indian wild dogs or dhole are like the next rung up on that branch on the evolutionary tree, a bit of a later branch than these are. The sound you're hearing in the background is a francolin. It's not the dogs, Clayton. It's one of the smaller ground birds, kind of like a partridge or a pheasant, but the African version of it. So just going back, so there's Rapoon. Do dogs and hyenas sometimes really play with each other? I actually have seen, not with a big pack, with a real small pack of 3. The dogs were almost trying to play with the hyena, but the hyena would have none of it. But it's something they are generally a playful social animal. So big packs, they've got others to play with. These small packs where there's only 2 or 3, it's maybe just that they're lonely. Do they eat the prey alive all the time? So not really all the time, but they kill and start eating animals so quickly, it's really hard to say and define when it died as opposed to when they started eating. John Locke, enjoy your braai. We shall be braaiing tomorrow. A braai is a barbecue for those of you that don't speak South African. Do hyenas hunt the dogs? So not really actively, but the hyenas here certainly often follow the dogs around while they are hunting, and they also follow often the leopards, particularly male leopards. The hyenas trail along, and as soon as the dogs have made a kill, they'll run in and try to steal it. We've seen a few times where the male leopards here have run, grabbed whatever they're about to kill, and kind of pulled it up the nearest tree and finished killing it in the tree even to avoid the hyenas.
So I just want to make a special mention here to my nephew and my niece, Ethan and Alex, and to the rest of the family there that are busy watching. Ethan's watching religiously, my sister says. It's nice to have you guys with us. Missing you all. Wishing you were here.
Alan asking why they're so endangered. So a big part of that has to do with them, even though they are not domestic dogs, or they're not feral dogs, but they share a lot of the same diseases as domestic dogs do. So rabies and canine distemper are huge problems for wild dogs, especially if they go off the reserves or border on areas where there are reserves. So it's important that they get inoculated against these different diseases and that, or if ideally just avoid contact with domestic dogs completely. And then also they need huge ranges. So this pack, part of the Investec pack, or breakaway from the Investec pack, their territory was in the region of 900 square kilometers. So there's not many reserves that are that big that can sustain them. So the Kruger Park is probably the biggest wild self-sustaining population, certainly in South Africa. There are populations in some of our other parks, but they do have to keep an eye on things like inbreeding and that there. And why they're so special, or because they are so rare, is why they're so special. As well as their behavior, they're the only animals that really truly look after one another.
So we've got a couple that are up and slowly mobile. Look how they're all okay, folks. So yeah, so we're not sure where these dogs have gone now, and I'm just trying to get some of these messages away from my screen so I can actually see what I'm filming here. But these dogs, if they get active now, we may lose them. Peter and myself did struggle to keep up with them in this very thick bush this morning. We are going to try and keep up with them, but if they get active, like I said, it might take us some driving around to try and find them again. We're certainly not going to be able to move as fast as they can through this thick brush.
Sorry folks, we were trying to keep up with where the dogs were all moving to, so I just missed out on some of the questions there, and I'll try and circle back to them. But yeah, it is pretty chaotic when they are getting ready to move and hopefully hunt.
I think we're good for now. Hi Erika from Argentina. It's nice to see all these new faces here as well.
Alright, so just going back to the questions, MCU shoe, so they cannot mate. The wild dogs and domestic dogs are quite different species. That's one of the reasons wild dog is not a really good name for them. It's not accurate at all. They're not wild domestic dogs, they're their own species. So Cape hunting dog or painted wolf is more accurate. And they do run and jump and that sort of thing, but it's not a technique they use for hunting directly. But I have seen them in long grass. They do something called ballooning, where they kind of bounce through the long grass so they can see where they're going. It is as funny to watch as it sounds. And Princess Jasmine, so dogs and wolves are actually more or less the same species. Domestic dogs are descendants of wolves, where these painted wolves, Cape hunting dogs, are a much older branch of that canine family tree. Brendan Cole, what is their position? You tell us. I'll give you a clue. It's really hard to get here, and it's like a thick jungle.
I'm going to stand up and just... actually, I'm not going to stand up. I'm just going to put the camera up high, just so you can get an idea of maybe what the horizon looks like, which is really just the tops of the trees. That we are in a thick block of land here. Don't know if there's... Can you see them there, Jaco?
Yeah, but clearly
I can see just...
there's no way we're going to be able to see them, unfortunately.
So they are moving a little bit. When they do move from here, we are going to try and keep up with them. But for now, they are in the immediate area, so we're not going to go anywhere just yet.
Nadav are showing signs of activity.
Yeah, so they're going to come into the area.
Still milling around in the same area.
So Jay is just asking how far into the bush do we go. So we go as far as the animals go, really, and as far as the vehicles are capable of taking us. So here we actually a few hundred yards, I don't know, maybe 500 meters or more into the bush. But it's an incredibly dense block of land, so 500 meters doesn't sound that far until you're trying to drive through it. If the dogs start moving, like now they could quite possibly get going very soon, then we really are going to battle to keep up with them. We'll do our best, but it will be a challenge for Jaco, who fortunately is a very good driver.
Probably like 50 meters north of White Rock. West of Kruger.
And then
Yeah, there's numerous things.
Geraint Thatcher, battles between rival dogs packs common. No, not that common at all, because there's so few dogs. They're pretty diluted over a massive area. Every now and then we'll see some sort of interaction between packs, but normally it just means a bigger pack chases a smaller pack off. Now, hello from Singapore. That's at the very other end of the spectrum of developed to where we're sitting out here in the bush.
Okay, well, it's just gone north up that drainage line. South, I mean.
There's another one that went that way.
Yeah.
So it might be worth if we loop around. It looks like they might be going that way.
Oh, Gareth and them coming?
Yeah.
They are at some of
And then, yeah, Clayton, if you go onto our YouTube channel, I see Nadav has already posted a video there, but you'll see a couple of other videos showing how close sometimes the animals come to the vehicles. They're not fazed by us at all. They're quite used to the vehicles around, and provided we behave normally, then they just kind of carry on with what they're doing.
They're making their way towards White Rock. We dashed it go that way now.
I wonder if we must just stay here for now. Don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think, Jaco?
I think that we're going to walk now and we're going to put fire back into the...
Can you see it all?
We go around to that.
Yeah, as good as it gets, really.
There's another one.
There's another one going there. Folks, we might have to leave soon, just so we give ourselves enough time to try and loop around to a road. It looks like they're headed towards the road that we came in on. At least the fifth dog is going that way now. I think we're going to take the chance and try and loop around and catch up to them again.
Alright folks, but stay with us. live.
Yeah,
you'll be able to watch Yaku's skills in action.
Yeah. Thanks. And then just while we're driving, now it's lovely to bring this transmission to you all at home, and we understand that you are all under lockdown conditions. There's a beautiful little bird that's just flown off here. Yeah, it's beautiful. Grey-headed kingfisher. You can just see every now and then. Beautiful. Yeah, so we are also under lockdown conditions here at Mala Mala Game Reserve. The whole country is under lockdown. There are a number of rangers that have remained, and there's a skeleton staff here that is taking care of the reserve. And we just want to say thank you to all of those nurses and scientists and doctors that are working during this time, trying to help those who have got the virus and help to come up with new solutions to it. I have a friend here in South Africa, in Pretoria, who works for the NICD. His name is Ahmed. I doubt very much whether he's watching this live, because he's got quite an important job to do. The NICD is the National Institute for Communicable Diseases, and he's a virologist. And to all those children out there, there was a boy named Morne and his brother Eben, who sent Ahmed a solution to the whole coronavirus debacle that we find ourselves in at the moment. And their plan was to drop a soap bomb from a plane so that everybody can be washed all of the time. Ahmed really took inspiration from this and has started a Facebook page called Kids Kick Coronavirus. So if you're out there and you think you got a solution, there are people that are listening, please go have a look at Kids Kick Coronavirus page and have a look at and add your say. You can add a little video, a picture, or just a solution to how you think this may be solved. Just know there are a lot of children cooped up inside, and we are thinking about you. I'm sure your parents are wishing that they had many acres like we do, so they could let you run wild like this pack of wild dogs you're following now. But yeah, if you do think that you got a good plan, go look at Kids Kick Corona Facebook page. They're also on Twitter and Instagram, I believe. And yeah, just our thanks to all of those that are on the coalface. Some of them putting their lives at risk. Thank you very much.
Also, folks, if there's an opportunity to bomb someone with soap, I'd like to be very much involved there.
So Morne and Eben, well done on your plan. Okay, we're just going to...
Alright folks, so we've just come back onto the road. I think we're more or less opposite where the dogs were now. What we're hoping to see is them using the road to get about as opposed to running like crazy through the bush. Another indication might be we see a whole herd of impala or one of the small antelope come running out. But it is always a challenge trying to relocate these animals once they're on the move. The others close by.
Yeah, they should be coming around right class now.
Sorry folks, so I'm just going through the questions again now while I have the chance. So there was a question, the difference between the wild dogs and domestic dogs. So they are very different species. A lot of that, I think, is... Oh, here they are.
Right, yeah, well done.
Yes, Yaku parked about 5 meters wrong. Don't worry, I'll train him up.
There you go. Well done, Yaku.
Thank you. Station's visual of one with dash on White House Road to the west of the road. Station is
now. Sorry, Emily, to come back to a question. I believe it's actually the foot structure that's one of the bigger differences. Also, if you look at this one now,
I'm just going to zoom in a bit. There we go.
He's just a little busy. But you'll see those huge ears, very distinctive for the dogs. And then also the coat. So each has got a very unique pattern coat. It's how we can identify the individuals. So with this pack, the one with the exposed canine is very distinctive. So it makes it quite easy for us.
There we go. So for any of you that are watching, parents with children, just a little disclaimer right here. These dogs, now that they're active, look like they're going to start hunting. So this might turn into a PG affair shortly. And just to let you know, there might be some sensitive content if we're lucky enough. But yeah. Get that one dog. He's climbed the termite mound there. He's using a bit of elevation to get a good look and see if there's any prey species in the area. Like we just mentioned, it is very thick in here. So he's using this termite mound to his advantage. I'm saying it's a he, it might be a she.
Yeah, you'll be able to follow here. But there's a big game trail that runs onto Whitecloth Road up ahead there.
So this is where knowing the property well becomes very handy. And Mike has been around Mala for a very long time. So he knows these game trails and where we can drive and where we can't, and some of the inaccessible areas. We're just going to try and stick with these Cape hunting dogs for now.
So folks, if you do watch these dogs, the grass is getting a bit longer here, but you might see them do this like almost like a rocking horse run where they kind of pop their heads up a little bit. It's more or less along the lines of that ballooning that I was talking about. Yeah, folks, and then like I say, just apologies for not being able to get to everyone's questions right now. We really do appreciate having the questions and being able to reply. Just following the dogs and watching out for branches and holes is a challenge, which is probably 90% of the reason you shouldn't text and drive.
The bush line west of Billy Road.
Okay.
How east is this game trail?
We kind of on it. It's just more or less following the slope here. It's just almost at Whitecloth Road is the only way to get around.
Okay, so the filming vehicle has come to help us out. Just if these, you can see it is quite difficult to follow them. They're just on the other side of this concrete in front of you.
Copy.
Lekker. Okay, go forward. There's the one there. There we go.
Looks like most of them are going.
So just a couple of questions about these Cape hunting dogs and their relation to domestic dogs and wolves. So domestic dog and a wolf, more or less the same thing. If I remember correctly, while I'm bouncing through the bush here, domestic dog is Canis familiaris and the wolf is Lupus, I might be wrong though, where these are Lycoan pictus. So if you're going back on that family tree, this is the earliest branch. So the dogs and the wolves
Okay, there we go.
separated as a species much further back than, say, a domestic dog and a fox or a... Oh, hi everyone. Thank you.
How do I change this now?
Surprise.
Sorry, I was trying to zoom out.
But yeah, so these animals, they are, of all the types of canines, they are the most distantly related to wolves, or domestic dogs certainly. How many individuals in the pack? I believe there are 8 in this pack. And a good morning from Texas. Howdy.
Thanks. Another thing just to be aware of is we are going over a hill now. Our signal was good earlier, but it may get poor relatively quickly. So if we do lose signal, we just want to say thank you in advance for joining us today. And we've really enjoyed taking you all on drive with us.
And JS, so by a remarkable coincidence, I actually happened to be watching the original Jurassic Park last night. I'm going to call being Sam Neill in this one. Gareth, you can be Jeff Goldman.
I don't know who they are, but
so,
I'm guessing that your one saved
you're
the day,
smarter
right?
than me, but I'm cooler.
Okay. Yeah, all good. Thanks, Yaku. Very considerate of you.
So Painted Wolf, you're correct. There's no record of these animals ever attacking someone in the wild. The only record I've ever heard of them attacking someone happened in a zoo, I think maybe Philadelphia, but that was through people being silly rather than the dog's own fault.
So they've just used this termite mound again to get a good view.
A comparison size-wise for these to a domestic dog, I would say like perhaps a skinnier Labrador or a Belgian Malinois, for those of you that are maybe familiar with them.
They're very similar size to Malinois.
Yeah. But it's about a 30 kilogram animal. They're not particularly big or powerful. Say like a hyena, that's a massively built animal. The dogs are built as marathon runners though, so amazing stamina, and it's how they hunt is by wearing their prey out.
We can keep on this trajectory. They are going a little bit south.
Parallel us.
Yeah, they're parallel to us right now. Yeah, ready? Okay, you got me. Okay, they're in front of us, we're heading in exactly the same direction.
Alright, so
We're going to go through, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, back.
Sorry folks, we're just squeezing through the jungle.
There they go.
See any with that?
Yeah, east there.
Sorry, I don't see that.
Yeah, they were headed straight in this direction last time I saw them. It looks like they're taking photographs of them. So this is the film crew that has been helping us out, and they are just pointing in the direction of the cave hunting dogs. So as you can see, it's very difficult to keep up with these animals, so we have asked the rest of the rangers to help us out here today. Looks like they've got a clear line through where they are. Thank you, and they're directing us. Ah, they're on the road, that's why. Thanks, Gareth.
Thank you.
Oh, and there they are. Yaku, are we driving through the bush all that time? Okay, there we are. Thank you. That's.
You just never know.
Yeah. It's very kind of them.
Someone says nice shoes.
Hopefully they continue south.
And Bradley Tommett, we can only hope that we do see a bamba, which is ranger talk for seeing a kill. But just to come back earlier to what Gareth said earlier, if they do hunt, you saw how hard it was to follow them just moving through the bush, never mind running. But if they do hunt, we'll hopefully be able to catch up with them, or maybe even see that if we are ridiculously lucky. But then just bear in mind that it is sometimes quite gruesome. But we will deal with that when it happens. And yes, it is a lot of fun, Dav. Sorry folks, I just want to go through some of the questions going back. Cal's guiding light. So yes, it's always possible to come across other animals. The lions, we actually have no idea where they are at the moment, or the pride that lives in this area, the Kambula pride. There was another pride we found further south this morning, and but in this area, the resident pride, we haven't seen them today. But also, this is the area of a leopard we know is the lookout female, and she lives here with her cub. So we could come across them, or elephants, or who knows what. We kind of hoping we come across tasty, unhealthy, unfit antelope that haven't been practicing their cardio.
Now they're going into.
And Giraffe Girl, we're still waiting for you to get back to us on where on earth you are, that it's 3 o'clock in the
I
morning.
think she said Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Jeez. Okay. So much colder than here.
And I think it was. It's worth it, eh? Where are we? They're headed towards northern Sakatene, eh?
Yeah, I think I was looking south.
Eventually. Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah.
Alright folks, so we are definitely going to try keep up with them. You can see the bush is getting a lot bushier, but also we are cresting the hill now, so we might lose signal. So just bear with us. It might get a bit spotty at times. And then Giraffe Girl, I actually haven't heard anything on the Nkuhuma pride. Though I assume they're somewhere in the north of the Sabi Sands. Geraint, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yes, if they came across that leopard and a cub, they probably wouldn't kill them, but they would certainly just chase them. Almost certainly just tree the leopards. The cub is about 10 months old, if I remember correctly. So more than capable of getting up one of these trees and away from the dogs. But for them, it would be more of a game to chase the leopards. And Dizzy, I'm hoping that everyone is learning, but I'll also highly recommend, just like anything on the internet, corroborate what I'm saying.
Fine, mate.
Good. And good afternoon, Christine Prescott. Welcome back. Alright folks, so also in these types of thickets that we're going through, we're unlikely to come across any impala, which is the main prey for these dogs. We're more likely to find a small antelope called a duiker, which is a relatively small creature, or perhaps even a scrub hare. And just to further complicate Yaku's life, we're going through an area where there's a whole lot of aardvark burrows, which is like the African version of an anteater. So the vehicle might come to a very dramatic and sudden halt if we fall into one of those holes.
Yeah, there's a hole right here that Yaku's just pointed out. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Ideally,
Yeah.
And Tour Soweto asking how do they find their food. So normally it's pretty much like this. They run through the bush and hope that they flush things out. So sight is their main sense. And then also these animals live here, so bear in mind that they will be quite aware of the open areas and good areas to find impala herds and so on. So they know where to look.
That's fine.
You're good?
Yeah, good. So the only other animals we can find out here. Oops.
See them?
Not ideal.
Alright folks, so we are just trying to find these animals again. They've moved through some pretty dense bush. And if you think it looks wild on screen, you should try being here. But yeah, just Yaku's doing a magnificent job of getting us through here.
We can still smell them. Head direction where this there soon.
Right, sorry folks, so I've lost it here. Folks, no, we're just getting back to a road and we'll try to get signal again.
I don't know if we are live again now. It looks like it might have reconnected. Just... Good, 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 good. No, it's just here, you can see it. Working, Nadav says working, folks.
Okay, so I'll
soon, which is we're quite happy about. I'm sure Yaku is probably the happiest.
yeah.
Sure.
Apparently they're continuing south.
This is a nice place to be right now.
Tactical 10 rocks maybe, if they're just going to go through the...
Okay, so the other vehicle has them in the distance there, but they're continuing south towards this drainage line. We know we can't cross there very easily. So we are going to loop around to a road. And Yaku's still navigating these mitre drains and outfall holes and
Alright folks, thanks for sticking with us through that.
It was emotional.
And Yaku again did an amazing job to get us back to the road. So what we're going to try to do is, the dogs have been found by the filming team and they just moved straight south from where they are across this valley. We're going to loop to the other bank of the valley, and what we're hoping is that we'll also get better signal there because we'll be on the far slope of this hill that's blocking us. It may drop out again, but I suppose we will. Alright folks, it looks like we're back on again. We just had to go through one of our bigger river systems, or deeper river systems.
So we've just
before we went through the Kruger crossing. I think we're back now, folks. Sure, sorry about that. It's obviously one of the challenges of working out here. Also, I wish the animals would learn where the different areas with cell phone signal are.
okay, Nadav, loud and clear. Great.
Alright. Yeah. You see them, Yakko?
No, I just maybe wanna...
the road, just follow on the road, it goes around this longer anyway.
So sure they're going that far.
Like, so the wild dogs are currently with the second vehicle.
Now they've lost them.
They've lost them. Yaku says they've lost them. So he's listening to the radio. We are on a road where we think they're headed towards. So we're hoping that they pop out in front of us somewhere here. So some nice scenery in the meantime. You can see there's a big cumulonimbus cloud building there.
Alright, so folks, just while we're looking for that, there's been a couple of questions about the lions. So we saw one of the lion prides this morning, the Sand River Pride down in the south of Mala Mala. Hopefully we'll put a little video of that on our YouTube channel, or on Mala Mala's YouTube channel in the next couple of days. The Kambula Pride, the ones we were live streaming with the other day, we're not entirely sure where they are. And then the Nkuhuma and Torchwood Prides up in the north, again we're not sure on their position, but also we didn't look because we were with the other pride in the south and then these dogs in the morning, so no one really got the opportunity to look for the other prides.
But I think Yaku, you did hear roaring up there, hey Yaku?
Yes, we did.
Yes, yeah. So we know there's some lions up in that northern part. We're not sure who, but there has been some roaring there.
If you...
Gareth said they might come out here at 4.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe just try get on the bend and then we can look both ways in this open area.
signal's surprisingly good here, eh?
Yeah. Maybe we can stop by those dwarf mongoose while we wait.
You see dwarf mongoose.
Just drive hard around the corner here.
There's a hyena.
There's a hyena, folks.
Down there.
So let's use the hyena and see maybe if it follows or leads us to the dogs.
Yeah, that tactic worked this morning. Perhaps it'll work again.
Yeah. It was all skill on Yaku's part. He knew the hyena was going to be here.
You just stand by. I think I can hear something. And that's sorry.
And Haley loves wildlife. Yes, if the hyena fails in leading us to the dogs, maybe it will lead us to a leopard. You never know. And yeah, so the hyenas do tend to move about on their own. They live in big clans, so it's actually quite cool to have the two sort of opposite systems here. So we've got the dogs, which live in these big cooperative packs, and they hunt together as a team, where the hyena, they also live in big, what we call clans, and each member of the clan will forage separately. So like this one will move off on its own, see what it can find. If it finds, say, a leopard with a kill, particularly a young female or female leopard on her own, like the lookout female, then with a kill, the hyena will be able to steal that kill on its own. But if it was, say, a pride of lions where it needed 4 or 5 hyena to drive it off, it would start whooping and calling and that, and attract the rest of the members of its clan to come and hunt. And maybe drive off that animal together, that lion perhaps. Or if it came across, say, wildebeest with a broken leg or something, again it would call the clan together to run that animal down. They normally don't bother the healthy animals, but hyenas are very, very capable hunters. It's pretty wild, but when we had our big drought here, I actually saw hyenas even hunting buffalo. Sadly, they weren't successful while I was watching, but I've got no doubt that they could do it if they wanted to. Welcome back to Stephanie Hess. And yes, folks, so hyenas do have a pretty bad reputation. A lot of that is down to things like the Lion King, and then also they tend to move around at night and they do eat dead things, so that association isn't really that great. But that said, they're incredibly successful animals. So here we don't have a total count for the hyena, but I can confidently tell you that there are far more hyena than any of the other predators, and perhaps as many hyena as all our lions and leopards together. So we do see hyenas pretty regularly here, and amazingly, whenever there's a kill, the hyenas pop out of the woodwork and they're there within seconds sometimes. And the question, what animal is the most successful hunter? So that is probably the wild dogs. Hyenas are probably aren't as well studied as the wild dogs, because where the wild dogs run and hunt and move in the daylight, when the hyenas are hunting, they're doing the same but in the dark. So you saw what a challenge it was following the wild dogs in daylight through a thicket. Imagine trying to do that in the dark with hyenas moving at the same speed. So the hyenas are not nearly as well studied, and you don't see too many documentaries featuring hunting hyenas. You tend to see them more when they're scavenging, because that's when they're sitting still. And then yeah, just a comment on the hyena walking on the road while we're driving in the bush.
Yeah.
So it is true, but it's also a lot to do with respect for these animals. He chose a road, we'll let him have it. And you can see the payoff is that he doesn't mind us at all. Moving around, filming, talking, driving. The animal knows that we're not going to harm it or interfere with it in any way. And Liang Wu, so yes, all of the world's carnivores are in danger, and that's partly a space issue. To sustain populations of carnivores, you need a big population of prey animals, and there's not many places that can sustain prey animals. Well, big enough populations. So sadly, as the world has become more and more developed, we've run out of space for a lot of these animals to live in. But that said, the hyenas are very successful, and they're able to live in a lot more urban areas perhaps than we would expect. And like leopards, they can live in these sort of urban environments.
Might be on the scent or something, eh? Or heard something.
Yeah, I think that hyena is maybe on the right track to find us these dogs.
No.
Yeah, folks, so we did try and follow the dogs through this thicket. That hyena is also running equally fast. We're not going to play that game. You've watched that movie already.
Yeah.
Try it, baby. Let's walk.
Sure, I'm not sure. I'm stumped right now.
I should continue driving east.
Yeah, let's just go back. Maybe let's go back east. We had good signal anyway. That way we had no signal.
Okay, so you can hear we're deliberating on where to drive now. I think the consensus is that we're going to go east, where the signal is good and the dogs were generally headed in that direction. Perhaps they'll pop out if we continue in that direction.
Just pointing out there, so the hyenas are an entirely different family to the canis. They look like dogs, but they're as different. So the carnivore family is split up into cats and dogs and bears, and then hyenas, Impestidae, which is mongooses. So they're as different from a dog or a cat or a bear as any of the other carnivores are from one another. Yeah, and then from Miami, I think hyenas would be safe in a pack than alone. So that's true, but they're also able to spread out and cover a lot more ground and find food by foraging separately and then hunting collectively. If you go into Malamala's YouTube channel, there's a number of sightings there with hyenas working in a pack. We put on one the other day. Pretty wild, with the hyenas driving a young male lion off a fresh buffalo kill. You can check it out. Yeah, folks, and then again we're just looking for the Cape hunting dogs once more. They were somewhere off to the left of the screen. Some big open areas that they could have used. Unfortunately, we might drop out a signal, but we'll see how it goes. We'll try ball. So Jay, striped hyenas in South Africa? No, we get brown hyena, spotted hyena, striped hyena, just smaller version, and they only eat termites, not really feeding on other animals. Laurie, yeah, we unfortunately, that's the signal done. So folks, we're going to trip of 17. There's a small pack of...
We live. Oh, there we go.
Okay, and I keep going. We just need to get over the crest of the hill. Sorry, we...
Okay folks, it seems as though we might be live again. The signal might get lost again. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to relocate these animals, so we are going to say goodbye to you all now. Just thank you very much to Mike, who's been on the comments, to Yaku, whose job I did not envy today, and then for myself, Gareth, it's been a real pleasure again having you join us on this game drive. Yeah, stay safe, and thank you Nadav, and to everybody that commented. Please go and have a look at our YouTube channel, at Mala Game Reserve's YouTube channel, to find more videos of animals that are out of cell phone range.
Alright, thanks so much folks. Hopefully we'll be able to find some animals in a bit more cell phone friendly area tomorrow. Ideally we'll try and see you all at 4, and yeah, happy birthday to my mom if she's watching.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Denise.